Get ready to save some money on your Uber rides. It is now possible to save at least 20% on all Uber rides you take, with the exception of very short trips. If you are going more than 5 miles, you are going to want to know about this nice little trick. You could save 30 or 40% in some cases. First, I want to say this trick in no way cheats the driver or Uber from fares they rightfully deserve. This method is perfectly legal and ethical. In fact, as you will soon learn, it's the right thing to do. First off, I must warn all drivers out there to be careful about sharing this information openly. Uber has been known to seek out and terminate partnerships with drivers who do things they don't like, and they certainly will not like this knowledge becoming public. That is why I'm not using my real name or voice in the production of this video. What we must understand is what is really happening in the name of fare transparency. Uber calls it upfront pricing. No surprises, you now know exactly what the trip will cost upfront before you request the ride. Simply put in the app your pickup location and destination and boom, the price is displayed, no guesswork. Sounds great, doesn't it? Some media sources have suggested they are trying to make us forget surge pricing exists. It's actually much more sinister than that. Just about the time Uber rolled out upfront pricing, they made all drivers accept the updated partner agreement before they could log on to drive. In the agreement it is made very clear that the driver's percentage of the fare would be based on actual miles driven and length of time the trip takes. Fair enough, right? It sounded fair to me, so I agreed. It would be okay if that is how the fare they charge the passenger is calculated. That, however, is the catch. It turns out that is not how the actual fare paid by the rider is calculated. The fare the rider pays is an estimate, almost always estimated on the high side. Based on data gathered so far, it appears Uber is adding at least 20% padding on most trips. With the possible exception of minimum fare and really short trips, Uber is estimating the fares higher than the fare that they pay the driver their percentage from. The driver only gets a percentage based on actual time and distance, not the inflated fare they charge the passengers. In other words, the drivers get paid based on what the fare should be. The riders pay a higher amount that they agree to, not knowing they could be paying a lot less. In my humble opinion, this is a deceptive business practice. The two-fare system built into the upfront pricing is unfair and needs to be exposed for what it is. I have placed links in the video description box. I urge you to investigate this matter further and make up your own mind how you feel. Now let's discuss how to pay based on the actual trip as opposed to the inflated estimate. Do not put the actual destination in at the time you request the trip. You will get an inflated estimate that you will have to pay in full if you do. What you should do is put a destination in that is in the general direction you are heading but closer than your actual destination. Perhaps about halfway. Then when the driver picks you up, inform them of the actual destination. It is your decision if you tell the driver why you are using an alternate destination. I do not see any harm in telling them why, but you decide what is appropriate. What will happen is, Uber will now have to charge you based on the actual trip, the exact same method they are paying the driver by. They certainly are not going to let you off with the cheaper estimate for the shorter trip you agreed to up front. I am certain they will in this case see fit to charge you according to actual time and miles. The good news is they cannot skim excess fares off the trip as they would have if you would have agreed to let them do so up front. You can sleep well tonight. You did not cheat the driver or Uber. You simply beat Uber at their own game. And you saved 20 to 50% because you know how to play. Drivers, you should always check each and every trip to make sure the fare reflects actual time and distance. If it does not, you can request a fare review through the app. As more and more riders learn to play the Uber game, this will be of increasing importance. Riders, if your driver was nice and did a good job getting you to your destination safely, you should tip them at least 10%. You can afford to do that, now that you have stopped Uber from overcharging you. And you should tip. The tip was never included. Uber claimed it was included in the fare. However, that was never true at any point in time. They did get caught in that lie and are not happy about it. By the way, Uber no longer claims that, after settling recent lawsuits. Had they stuck by the tip as included line, they would have to classify drivers as employees, and that would have cost them a bundle of cash from now on. As part of the settlement agreement, drivers are now allowed to display signs in their cars stating this fact. It will take a while to finally set the record straight. The tip is not included. It never has been. If you want your driver to receive a tip, you must give it to them. They tried to secretly get the drivers back for that concession by building a tip into the new upfront pricing model and keeping all of it for themselves. It is my hope this plan backfires, and it will, if enough people find out about it. Thank you for watching, and if it helped you, please share it. I am placing it in the public domain to be shared freely without worries. As previously mentioned, active drivers should use caution. Consider taking steps to protect your identity. We do not want anyone to get deactivated. Enjoy playing the game. Uber Smart. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.